Hey everybody, how you doing? Happy Monday! Happy Monday, Ed.
Ditto.
Did you have a fun weekend?
Yeah, it's always too fast, you know?
Yeah, a little too slow? A little too tall? Could he used a few pounds?
Well, I didn't know we were speaking Pig Latin today. Anyway,
it
was a nice weekend. The weather was beautiful. Rain like cats and dogs poured on Saturday, and yesterday was perfect.
Yeah. Wow.
Like the humidity came down. What do you think?
Yeah, no, I had my brother in town. My mother was in town. I was, I was out with everybody. It was, we had a great dinner with probably the family with which my family's been associated with the longest, the Wilsons in Niagara, and that was great. We went and looked at a property that is going to become part of the Real Economist, which the Real Economist is another project that we're working on. We'll go into more detail on down the road. But how about that cannabis market today? Did you see that there was, like, at one point, the indexes, the small cap index was up 10%.
Come on.
Yeah, 10%.
Well, I did buy some trust this morning. I had it on Friday, but I didn't want to hold it over the weekend, and I was able to buy it a little cheaper.
Yes.
And within a very short period of time, I was able to sell it and make a very nice trade.
Nice.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if the NDI is, look at that, hey? So there's how we left the week last week.
Wow.
And look how we came back, roaring back today from 8,800 to 9,000. That's quite a move. And so I'm questioning, what was the cause? What's the cause for all the excitement to the upside? Was it just that it got so oversold at the end of the week?
I was just going to say it got really oversold. If you look on that chart, you'll see the index dropped dramatically over the last month and a half. And when you get extremely oversold, the sellers start to become less and less because, if you haven't sold, and then it's like there's a little bit of a vacuum there, and the selling starts to abate.
Right.
And the buyers keep buying, and they're thinking, and maybe the shorts get nervous and think, hey, wait a minute, this thing's starting to go against us. If it closes really strong today, it'll gap again tomorrow. And we've seen this happen, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, well, so Midas RAW show rundown. Raw. Ed and James will be here at 3 p.m. promptly. Well, we managed to fly through that with flying colors.
Okay.
Fly through that. Today's news nurse is Fraser Toms. And then at 3:07, James and Ed will be back. Connor Lynch joins us at 3:20. Now, this is going to be an interesting conversation because Connor is the connected bridge to all of the professional newsletter writing services in America, and some of the biggest names ever, like Agora and Angel Publishing, like some of the most prolific newsletter writers that have been credited with so much wealth creation. And he points out the difference between the noise emanating from the Twitter sphere and how investors constantly get burned when they listen to them versus the informed opinion that comes out of the newsletter writer universe when people are aligning themselves. Yes, they are in some cases conflicted in that they are shareholders in the companies, but they are very careful to pick companies that they think will go up because they want to make money for their shareholders and they want to make money themselves.
What an idea.
And they want to make money for their subscribers. So they look to pick the best stocks.
How did you meet this gentleman?
Oh, well, they came knocking on our door as a result of previous relationship, and they want us to become part of that universe. Do you think we will? Anyways, so he's here at 3:15. At 3:25, Nika Domi from Mind Your Wealth joins us for her debut appearance on the Midas Letter platform. And Nika is going to be, I suspect, one of our most popular co-hosts and hosts as we evolve together, but you're going to see a lot more of her. She's got a book coming out on the psychology of investing.
Really?
She does.
I should collaborate with her.
Yes, you should. And she has actually, but her first book coming out is on the psychology of relationships.
Ooh.
Yes.
Ooh.
Yes.
Hey, if you got that one figured out.
Yeah, well, that's just it. So she's going to be our co-host from the 24th. She's actually going to be the host, or host and host, from the 24th to the 1st of August. Nick Brody is going to be here from Galane Gold at 3:45. And yes, we're still talking about gold because, yes, gold is still looking good.
And every week, if there's a weekly closing above 1,400, the bulls get more emboldened about their view that it's going much higher.
Well, not only that, but the Gold Institute, Gold Org, sent me a notice.
They sent you a gold orb?
The ETFs, I wish they'd sent me a gold orb. They sent me an email that explained that the gold ETF inflows were the highest ever in the last 7 years for the last quarter.
Yeah, well, we saw, remember, we saw gold around 1280, and now it's sitting around 14, 15, 14, and 20. Down a little bit, but if it holds here, I think the next move could be any day. We could see like another $30, $40, $50, $60 move.
You bet. Anyways, here's Fraser Toms now with the news.
Here's your cannabis news for today. Organigram Holdings announces financial results for the third quarter ended May 31st, 2019. The company reported a Q3 net revenue of $24.8 million and a Q3 net loss and net income from continuing operations of $10.2 million and $12.9 million respectively. The company's Q3 adjusted EBITDA was reportedly $7.7 million or 31%, which was positive for the fourth consecutive quarter. Chiron Life Sciences has provided a corporate update on core commercial and operational activities. The update includes a synopsis of the company's position related to commercial revenue generating activities, as well as an operational update on the status of cultivation, extraction, and testing facilities. As a result of the ILANS acquisition and launch of the Quita Cosmeceutical brand, Chiron remains the only Colombian company to be generating cannabis revenues derived from legally approved production. Chiron is the first company to introduce CBD skincare products in the Colombian market. The overall goal being to continue to enhance Chiron's robust business model while working to improve access for patients and make medical cannabis available and affordable throughout the markets in which the company operates. Aleafia Health announced that on July 12th it secured license amendment under Health Canada's cannabis regulation authorizing cannabis cultivation for the entirety of its Port Perry outdoor grow facility. The license immediately increases the company's license and operational outdoor cultivation area to over 1.1 million square feet. The company expects to commence planting the newly licensed area using approximately 7,000 cannabis plants currently growing pots in Zone 1. Aurora Cannabis announced that it has received Health Canada license for outdoor cultivation at its 2 Canadian sites. The new sites in Quebec and British Columbia will be used for cultivation research to develop new technology, genetics, and intellectual property in order to drive outdoor production. The newly named western facility will be called Aurora Valley and is a 207-acre operation in Westworld, British Columbia. The eastern facility, a 21,000 square foot operation at the Aurora O facility, and it's the first approved outdoor grow operation for cannabis in Quebec. Aurora Valley is expected to be planted shortly, and Aurora O has already been planted. Emerald Health Therapeutics received its cultivation license from Health Canada for the 12-acre outdoor grow area at its new organic cannabis operation in Metro Vancouver, BC. The 12-acre outdoor grow area is expected to be capable of producing approximately 10,000 kilograms of cannabis annually. Emerald is reportedly positioned to deliver one harvest and a portion of the expected full production volume this year. Tree of Knowledge International and Ryerson University officially launched their partnership research project to develop a new nanotechnology enhanced delivery method for medical cannabis and cannabinoid molecules today. The ultimate goal of the project is to create targeted treatments for different medical conditions. And that's your cannabis news for today.
All the marijuana stocks down 80-some%.
What?
CBIS.
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 CBIS. Ed's just giving me a tip here on the side here. What about CBIS?
Well,
What is it?
They published a list of the biggest losers for the year from the high to now.
Yes.
And CBIS was at the top of the list. And that's I'm just saying.
Okay.
That's not a comment. That's just.
What's CBIS?
That's the name of the company. CBIS.
Like short for cannabis.
Yeah, but I don't know what the company is. I just know the symbol.
Did you hear in the news that Peter Thiel
Yes.
was calling on the FBI and CIA to investigate the possible infiltration of Google by Chinese operatives?
Really?
Yes. And did you know that the only level 4 lab in Canada suspended its Chinese lead scientist and all of her students who were from China due to concerns about Canadian national security.
I'll say
So you
really.
think-
I'll
I
say
think-
really again.
Do you think China's maybe aggressively trying to infiltrate the world and has visions of like global hegemony?
I get us. They got enough people to do it.
They got the manpower.
They got the manpower.
Oh boy.
Yeah, you know, what do they have now? About two. Is it two? No, they don't have 2 trillion. They got $1 trillion 4, right?
Yeah.
Or something like that.
Yeah. But anyways, Peter Thiel, who is pretty widely regarded as a crackpot, he sits on the board of Facebook, and he says that Google should be investigated for treason because their decision to work with the Chinese military is treasonous.
Boy, if Trump gets a hold of that,
Well,
I don't think there's any love lost with these major tech companies and
Well,
Trump,
Peter
right?
Thiel started off on the board of Trump's. Remember Trump's? He had the Industrial Advisory Committee. Elon Musk was on it. Tim Cook was on it. Peter Thiel was on it. It's like all the CEOs of the biggest tech companies were on it, and they all quietly have left the building. And notice there's absolutely no coverage of the the President's Industrial Council, I think it was called, no longer exists.
Jesus.
Or if it does, it's chaired by people who, don't have anything to lose.
Well, this marijuana sector has got a nice little buzz going right now.
Yeah, the marijuana sector's got a buzz going right now, Ed. Was that accidental?
Yes, it was. I didn't get it.
Really? Well, yeah. I mean, it's quite remarkable to see the reversal. Like, where the hell did it go? Jesus. There we go. Look at the Midas Letter small cap index is up 10% on the day.
Yeah. Now, this is usually where the shorts are thinking because they've just made so much money being short.
Yeah.
Their attitude is, I'm not getting sucked into this rally. It can't last.
Can't trust holdings.
These are the kinds of rallies that can last.
Right.
Like we could see another 40, 50, 60 cents tomorrow on CanTrust, for instance.
You called it a melt up.
Well, there's a melt. They're talking now that we're set up for a melt up in the broad markets, and they say the mining stocks particularly look about like they're getting ready.
Talking about a melt up, CanTrust, who, look at CanTrust today.
It was 315 at one point.
Yeah.
And it's now 390.
Look at that.
That's a big move.
Well, look at that. So CanTrust, do you think that the move to the downside was a combination of CanTrust really shitting the bed in the most profound way alongside Canopy Growth firing Bruce Linton so that it just put this dark cloud over the whole sector by the end of the week?
And you start seeing these headlines like all sales are halted. That was on the front page of the Globe. And then I read today, anecdotally, that their license could be suspended. But then they said there's a very strong possibility that if the price gets a little closer to lower here, because they have so much cash, they have so many assets, it's a pretty good company from a balance sheet perspective. Maybe someone will try and make a shit bid, a stink bid.
Shit bid.
Shit bid.
No, shit bed is what they did to get the stock down that low.
You get the stink
bid
from the
is
shit
what
bed.
That's right. Shit bed causes stink bid. Do you think the cause of shit bed
causes stink bid?
Anyways, tomorrow our show is coming to you live from Pat Camp. Now, Pat Camp is the private facility. It's the backyard of Scott Patterson, who is the chairman of our sponsor, Halo Labs. Playground. Yes. So he's so generously invited us up to conduct our show from Pat Camp. And I'm going to tell you, in case you don't know, Pat Camp is like, it's like Shangri-La.
It's something, I've been there. It's like, something else.
It's like in the most beautiful place in the world, in the Muskokas in the summertime. It's the most beautiful place in the world. And even among Muskoka standards, it stands out.
This is a special place.
A special place.
Yeah.
For special people.
Special Ed's going.
Special Ed's going. Just so the control room knows, I can't actually hear a word you're saying. I hear faint murmurings in my ear, but I suspect your level is low on my earpiece. Yeah, so, and then next week, we are going to go and visit the backyard of Greg Engel from Organigram. We just ran into him downstairs in the
Where does he live?
food court. We're going to his cottage.
Where would that be?
I can't tell you that.
Am I going?
Well, obviously, who else is going to do the show with me there?
That's true. Never thought of that.
So that might be a little later than next week, but at any rate, it's going to happen. This is the new thing, backyard barbecues.
Backyard? Well, certainly we're not going to do them in December.
Well, we will,
Yeah.
but from companies whose CEOs live in Miami and,
Gotcha. Gotcha.
Palm Beach, Palm Desert,
That's the South
Mallorca.
Pole, not the North Pole, the South Pole.
Not the South Pole. No poles. No poles in the winter.
Well.
Polski Ogorki. Hey,
And-
did you know what? Nika
Pols-
Domi is a Polski Ogorki.
No, she's a Polski Ogorka.
She's
Polska Ogorka.
Polska or Glorka.
Yeah.
Well, anyways, boy, can you read that, Ed, for me?
Yeah, what does it say?
I have no idea.
Oh, it says Dell.
It says, Iru Livway, Nil Lobler,
Emit
Ninstobrat, So the answer is yes. Hit the bell to get notified every time we're live. Oh yeah, hit the bell. The little bell button in the corner upper right of your screen, if you're watching on YouTube, is how you get a notification when we start broadcasting from anywhere. And I can tell you that the broadcast locations are about to get really interesting because, well, we're tired of being stuck in our little studio.
Right.
So we're going to be in LA, actually, in our studio in LA starting in September.
Yes.
I'm going to be coming to you live from the coast of Oregon, from a small town called Yahats, at the end of the third week of July. What else? I'm planting more cannabis. I've got 4 plants of...
Are they now in the drying stage? Is it what you call the drying stage?
Well, the curing stage.
Curing.
Yeah,
Curing.
They're curing. So I've got now 4 plants of ACDC, which is high CBD, low THC. So unlike the effect of those last plants that you tried, Edward, these ones will be quite a bit milder. Also, would you like to know what Bruce Linton's next cannabis deal is going to be? If you would, sign up to our free newsletter, because we're actually about to launch a paid newsletter service. And among the value propositions for subscribers will be, what are entities like Bruce Linton up to next? And Bruce actually shared some of that intelligence with you, but we have reasons to suspect that we have a closer handle on what that's going to be than others might think. We're talking in the cannabis space. We know he's already moving to some other technology stuff, but will he be back in the cannabis space soon? Subscribe to find out, Grasshopper. Also coming up, we're going to be in Cam Battley's backyard. We haven't actually had that conversation yet, but I know he'll say yes. We're hoping to go to Terry Booth's backyard, but we're pretty sure we're going to have to hop the fence and sort of gate crash that one. And that's in Edmonton, so we better hurry because the weather's going to turn nasty there sooner than anywhere else. Let's see, other CEOs we're going to do backyards live with. Can't really tell you, but there's going to be a few. The big news today, among the big news items today was the fact that Chiron had made that acquisition. Did you see that?
Chiron's back. I mean, it got down to $1.80, I think, late last week, and today I saw it $2.05.
Yeah.
I don't know. I haven't looked at it in the last. Maybe we'll just take a look right now.
That's a hell of an idea.
Why don't we do that?
Here we are. Don't mind us. We're just looking up stuff. Other shows would prep for this, but we like to do it live just to show you,
210.
an inside look at the process.
No, it's back to 205. But look at that move. There's a 10-day. Here's a one month. Wow. Huh. That got down to $1.73 and $1.72. Now 205.
Bruck 73?
That's a big move. Bruck 73.
Bruck 73? Who's at a Bruck 73?
Is that an address?
Bruck 73. Anyway, so big news today on Organigram's behalf about the Q3 net revenue of $24.8 million, but continuing operating loss of $10.2 million and $12.9 million respectively.
Yeah, now was there EBITDA positive? Did it say?
Wait a sec here. The company reported Q3 net revenue of 24.8, and Q3 net loss of 10 point. Boy, that's confusing. So the company's adjusted EBITDA was 7.7 million. But I was really interested in talking to you a bit about Chiron's latest update. Chiron, obviously one of our generous show sponsors, so of course we're going to talk about their press release because that's the deal. You sponsor us, we talk about you, especially when you come out with good news like this. So as we know, Chiron has been developing this line of cosmetic products that are CBD infused called Quida. Now, apparently, the company has started to generate revenue from sales of Quida cosmetics in Colombia, and will soon start to do so as well in other European, or rather South American countries. Now, this makes Quida the only company in Colombia that's generating revenue from legal cannabis presently.
Okay.
Legal cannabis, cosmetics.
Now, let me ask you a question? When I was in the wellness business down in Philadelphia a bit.
The loony bin?
Institutionalized.
Institutionalized.
No, but do they have to?
So you were an institutional investor?
Does it matter what your country? This is a very technical question, but let's say you're Spanish, for instance, which everybody in South America pretty well is, or Portuguese. Would the wellness product with CBD in it be sort of tailor-made for their DNA, which is slightly, I'm talking about different skin types, right? From different parts of the world, you know what I'm saying?
Well, certainly cosmetics are engineered to different skin tones.
Yeah, that's. I'm just wondering if that comes into it, or
I don't know that much about Quida's cosmetics.
But Quida would be catering to South Americans primarily, wouldn't it?
Yeah, but South Americans aren't typically associated with a particular skin tone, Edward.
No?
No.
Okay.
I mean, there's you have your mestizo South Americans that are typically darker, associated more with the indigenous population, that
like Mayans and Incans.
But there's plenty of very, very pale Latinos, Colombians, Brazilians, Peruvians. Yes. Okay. There are.
Anyways, maybe a question for their research.
Well, ask her that next time she's on.
Yeah. That doctor, for instance.
Have you noticed all of the large-scale outdoor hemp operations springing into the press lately? Most recently, Aleafy announced on July 12th that it was going to be cultivating hemp in 1.1 million square feet of outdoor licensed space. 1.1 million feet.
Yeah, square feet.
Yes.
Like it's not like a building that's like that wide and it goes on for
a million feet. No, that would be
million
weird.
Square feet. So that's 10,000 by 10,000, right?
So they're only going to plant 7,000 cannabis plants, though, in that 1.1 million square feet. Now, here's my question: if it's outdoor and they just got licensed on July 12th, they're going to plant it now? Because isn't it like a little late in the season? And I got to ask, what if you're growing hemp? I guess you could plant hemp in July, and barring an early frost, you could expect to harvest it in October in Canada, in Ontario, maybe.
Great.
Anyways, Aurora also announced that it had received 2 outdoor licenses.
Yeah.
They're growing on a 207-acre location in Westwold, BC. Westwold.
That's where you live.
Westwold. No, I don't live in that world. I live in the other world. I live in the world far, far away.
Twilight Zone. Okay.
So this new facility is going to be called Aurora Valley, and it's 207 acres. Do you know how much hemp you could produce on 207 acres?
I had the advantage of growing up on a little farm down in southwestern Ontario. So 20 acres, small, 20 acres.
20 acres,
hobby farm. But it's
quite substantial.
It's a big lot.
Have you ever had to cut the grass on 20 acres?
Like marijuana? We didn't grow it back then.
No, I mean cut the lawn.
Well, you didn't say. You said cut the grass.
Well, now I've said lawn.
Okay.
Did you?
Well, we had 2 acres of maybe an acre of lawn.
Ah.
You know.
What happened to it? Sinkhole?
No, it's still there. It's still there, but it's different owners now.
Oh. Canopy Rivers regained a backup over $3 to 308 cents, 308 cents. T got up 4 cents to 315. Look at that.
By the way, 200 acres is a third of a square mile.
Oh, thank you.
Just so you know.
Thank you for that. What is that in metric?
Don't know.
No. Anyways, I had a conversation with Connor Lynch from PendryCannon, and that was interesting. I'm joined now by Connor Lynch from PendryCannon. Connor, welcome.
James, thanks for having me here today.
Connor, let's start with an overview. What does PendryCannon do?
From a very high level, we're trying to solve an information asymmetry problem that I perceive in the microcap space today. You've got a lot of really interesting companies with credible stories doing very real things, and you have a lot of qualified investors who are interested in getting involved in those stories, investing in them, participating. But the information isn't getting communicated across. The investors are not hearing about the best deals. They're often hearing about the loudest deals, which in a lot of cases are not necessarily the best stories. And because of that, I think that there's a lot of opportunity. And so that's the gap that we're helping both investors and companies to bridge.
Sure. So you have affiliations with some of the bigger names in the investment newsletter field.
Yep.
Are there any of them that you can talk about at all?
Sure. I mean, there are quite a few major newsletters that I think investors should be focusing on. I don't think I'll go into particular names, but there's quality information out there. Investors need to look to the credibility of the editors behind each of these services. Do your research, do your homework, and the ones that are doing good work, they'll stand the test of time. They'll still be here in 5-10 years.
Sure.
Whereas the ones that have popped up overnight with a lot of attention and fanfare, they may not be.
Right. So we've seen a lot of newsletter writers come and go over the years. Currently, the social media phenomenon has given a voice to basically anybody who can string together 144 characters. Now, that has resulted in a situation where people operating on more or less gossip are able to drive the valuation of issuers positively or negatively, but dramatically nonetheless.
Yeah.
So for investors who are looking to avail themselves of the more credible opportunities, what's your advice to them when it comes to the Twitterverse versus the newsletterverse?
That's a good question. So Twitter is a bit of a jungle, and you've got people on there who are credible and who drive stock and who have great opinions, but you also have, and I think they outnumber the credible people, a lot of people who just have a following, maybe they've made a few good calls, but for the most part, they're just out there shooting their mouth off. And in some cases, they're being paid to do it. And because of the 140 character format, chances are that's not being properly disclosed. So I would say if you're taking recommendations on what stocks to buy off of Twitter, that's probably not healthy for your portfolio long term. Maybe if you're an active trader and you are attempting to just trade or fade the initial burst of action from a Twitter user putting that out there, that might be one thing. But I would never buy a long-term stock off of a Twitter recommendation.
Sure. There are characteristics of credible newsletters and newsletter write-ups that I have found over the years to be omnipresent in longer-lasting, credible newsletter writers from guys who are actually working in the interest of subscribers. And then there are characteristics of other newsletters and write-ups and recommendations that are consistent with the here today, gone tomorrow, paid for but not disclosed, overly compensated, overly pregnant with the stock. What are the differences between those two types of newsletters that investors can use to identify the real deal from the heavy stock promote?
Sure. So I think a big aspect of it is a lot of the paid services tend to be more focused on the interests of the investors actually participating in them. I think you have to look at, again, the background of the editor involved. Are they actually involved in the space? Have they been following it for a long time, or are they just jumping on it as a fly-by-night thing? And if you dig into the history of those editors, of the authority behind the service, that's the best way to find out if it's the real deal or if it's just overhyped garbage.
Sure. So if they've got a reputation that you can see easily then it's probably better than something that just cropped up overnight.
100%.
One of the aspects that is a sore point with investors as well as regulators, and one that we are ultra sensitive to here, is the idea of disclosure.
Yes.
And in many cases, we see articles and write-ups that don't carry the correct disclosure in an easily visible format.
Yeah.
And for me, that's always one of the tells about a credible newsletter versus a less credible one, is disclosure should always be prominent and be rather thorough and clear.
Absolutely, and just to be clear, I think that there is absolutely a space for companies, paying to have information about their story put out there. A lot of times that might be the only way that investors get to hear about a really credible stock, a really credible company. But that disclosure needs to be there so investors can see, okay, this was paid for by the company. This is a third-party point of view that may be somewhat biased. And frankly, it's not legal to do it the other way. And because of the growth of especially the cannabis space over the last few years, it's been a bit sloppy, and I think regulators have not enforced it as well as they maybe should have. But that's something that investors need to pay close attention to.
Sure. So if investors want to find out more about PendryCannon and the universe of credible writers, how do they do that?
So they can visit us at PendryCannon.com, or my publishing company that I own is called Wealth Press, so they can also check out wealthpress.com.
Perfect. All right, Connor, we'll leave it there for now. It was great to talk to you. We'll have you back soon. Thanks for joining me today.
Thank you, James.
Bob's your uncle.
Wheat MD up 8 cents.
Yeah.
But when you look at it at $1.50, you'd say, well, it means it must have got down to around $1.40.
Did you ever follow the newsletter writer Jim Dines?
A little bit, yeah.
So Jim Dines apparently is approaching 90 years old now.
Really?
Yeah.
I guess it won't be long before he's 90.
Not long. He's approaching.
I thought, didn't he say he was in his early 90s?
Is he in his early 90s?
I don't know.
We should call him and find out. He wrote the bestseller Mass Psychology about investing. That was largely a... oh, you know who else we're going to shoot the backyard thing with? Late August, we're going to be shooting in the at the harvest of 48 North. Now, this will be the first outdoor cannabis harvest that we've ever shot in Canada. I think it's one of the first ever harvested in the legal regime. And so that's a late August shoot. That's going to be very interesting.
Really?
Yeah. Can you believe that? Anyways,
that'll be fun.
James Dines and his newsletter was famous for, and his book, Mass Psychology in the Art of Investment, he was famous for his ability to make his investment picks by translating what the herd was going to do in response to certain news, and that's how he became wealthy. But Nika Domi, who has an enterprise called Mind Your Wealth, she...
Not mine your wealth, but mind your wealth. Could be either one, right? Mine your wealth.
Mine your wealth means you're going to get your money from mining, which that's not this lifetime.
Not this cycle.
But anyways, Nika stopped by the studio, and here's what we had to say with her. Nika Domi joins me now. She's the CEO and founder of Mind Your Wealth. Nika, welcome.
How are you?
I'm great, thanks. Now, Nika, Mind Your Wealth has a really interesting context. People think it just means look after your wealth, but you've got another angle to that. Tell me about how Mind Your Wealth, the name, sort of meshes with your background, your education.
So the first word and the first thing in the name Mind Your Wealth is mind, right? So everything is mind. The universe is mental. So we first have to take care of our mental state and mastering our mind, and then we can definitely achieve a lot more. A lot of times we see people get to a high level, maybe financially or so, and then they kind of, as we say, they lose their mind, and then it all goes to,
Right.
So I just figured I'd take it from that level to educate people on psychology and how important it is to your holistic wellness, your financial, your bodily wellness, your any kind of wellness in your life. It starts from your mind.
Sure. Well, the reason that excites me is because people say Midas letter, oh, it's about gold and King Midas. And actually, the story of Midas, where everything he touched turned to gold, was a cautionary tale, because ultimately he touched his daughter and she turned to gold, and he lost the most important thing to him through his pursuit of wealth.
Right.
And so Midas letter is intended as a platform for prosperity, not just financial prosperity, but mental prosperity, health, and
Well,
wellness.
there you go. So you got the right idea.
Well, so we're on the same page. That's exactly my point.
Definitely, the frequencies aligned.
Exactly. So you invest.
Yes, I have been an investor for quite some time now. First, I was a university student. I just actually graduated from McMaster, from social psychology program. And within that time, as I was a student, somebody came to me and said, you have to run to the bank and open yourself a tax-free savings account. I said, why? Had no clue what this was all about. And then they said, just do it right now and don't ask questions. I don't ask questions. I go and I open this tax-free savings account. And from then, I was able to, it was so interesting to me that this is available to the public. I actually didn't know that just a regular person off the street can start investing, and it can be actually easier than we thought it was. And I began my journey investing as I was a student. So it allowed me to kind of combine the two and not have to actually get a part-time job or anything like that as a student. It became very well, because that's when the cannabis businesses were just beginning and they were, on that rise. And it allowed me to kind of learn a new thing as I was in school. And that was just an amazing thing. I thank that person forever for showing me the
So
way.
are you saying you put yourself through university through your investing in a tax-free savings account?
That would be amazing. No, I actually. So I was able to work with the OSAP and things like that, and try to make the best of it. And that's how I was able to invest. And I actually, my first company I ever invested in was Organigram, and that was And then I went into Aurora, and then the big companies I started with, right? But then when the October came, nobody expected it, right? So then we all kind of took a little bit of a hit, but it allowed me to learn so much that it's just been very beneficial. So no, I haven't put myself through university with trading, although if I learned this, because I was at my last little bit, if I learned this at the beginning, I think it would have been completely possible.
Sure. Okay, so you got to pretty much learn about investing while you were studying psychology, which has got to be one of the greatest ways to learn about investing.
Exactly, because again, it showed me from being on Twitter, being part of different chat rooms, I got into a lot of different WhatsApp groups that were full of investors and traders, and I was able to see how people behave, how they attach themselves to different stocks, how they use theories that I was learning in school, such as cognitive dissonance and attribution theory, where kind of attribution theory, for example, would be something like, I would make an external attribution to a mistake I've made. So say, for example, if I bought a stock because it was pumped, and then I will begin to pump that stock because I want to defend the fact that I made a mistake. I don't want to admit that, right? So then we're getting into something like cognitive dissonance, where we'll keep defending it because we feel bad about, we don't want to admit what we've done, even to ourselves, right? So all these theories, they really apply to the world of trading, investing, and because I actually had a lot of experience from my past career, I actually was working in the commission sales environment for the cosmetic companies. So for about 10 years, I've worked at stores like Hudson's Bay, the Gone Sears, places like this, where I've worked for Christian Dior's and Clarence's and Clinique's and those types of companies. And so I have that kind of an experience with clientele, with the business world, with company representatives. And also that allowed me to combine the psychology, the finances, and using psychology to fix the way businesses run also.
Sure.
So it's a wide world where psychology seems to fit everywhere.
Yeah, no kidding. Well, so that's something that we're obviously going to explore with you going forward, because that's really, I mean, going back to even James Dines, who's one of the grandfathers of sort of small cap investing. He wrote a book called Mass Psychology back in, I think it was the 70s, and it was a bestseller on the New York Times list, and everybody in the industry read it, and most people to this day of a certain age conduct their investing at least with that book in mind, or with at least the premises of it. So I think it's time for an update, and you're going to be the one to bring it to us.
Well, that could be my my second book. At this moment, I'm actually almost done. I'm writing a book. One more thing to my list of tasks. I'm writing a book about psychology of interactions. So I'm using all the theories, the basic theories that I've learned in my university experience, and I want to take it out to the world, because I've noticed in school that there was so much interesting information I've never been, able to kind of get anywhere else. And I thought, why is this hiding in university books and all these research papers? I need to bring this out to the world, because this is golden. This is something that we all need to know.
Wow.
And it, definitely about knowing your own mind, how you operate as a human, what kind of automatic processes we fall into. And that can really be used in any area, whether it's students, whether it's business owners, whether it's company presidents or CEOs. We've seen many times where, where people on a high level, they make these mistakes of interacting with people in the wrong way, or kind of falling for different psychological pitfalls. So I want to educate them on kind of using their mind a little better. So that book will be the first one out soon, and then my second one can be based on the one you're talking about.
Investing psychology, sure.
I'll take you up on that.
Okay, great. Nika, finally, let's talk about, since you're invested in the cannabis space,
Yes.
What are your favorite cannabis stocks now, and where do you see the cannabis market going in the immediate future with the sort of negative downturn we've been in lately?
I feel like the downturn, I remember this from last summer. Every time, as summer comes, it's a slower season, and then I guess it kind of accentuates some of the weaknesses in the stocks, so then it kind of maximizes them to our external view, where it maybe isn't as bad as we think it is in the summer. So I think we need to stay positive and definitely look into the companies that we feel good about. So my favorite companies right now, again, Organigram is probably one of my top. I think I'm a little biased because they were my first stock that I've ever bought. I do like Aurora, and definitely, as most people say, I do agree that it is a long-term play. As well, who else do I? Hexo seems like a diligent company that is also kind of slowly but surely doing their thing. Some of the American ones, I am impressed with TrueLeaf. I'm impressed with CureLeaf. C-Web, that's something that you can't not be impressed with.
So you like to stick
Kenner
with them.
Royalty,
Right.
also I'm impressed with how they have been able to kind of get into that, the American deal and
Sure.
so
With Cresco Labs.
Yes.
So you seem to prefer more mature companies.
Right.
And you invest in them once they've sort of established that they're going to have cash flow and they're going to get market share.
Right.
As opposed to the small startup ones, of which there are now hundreds,
Yes.
that are saying, we're going to do this, we're going to do that, but we really haven't accomplished anything
From the
yet.
smaller ones, I've really been impressed with Valens Grow Works, James E. Wagner. So there is some companies that I'm watching. Weed MD, what a positive attitude, especially the CEO. Every time they come in, I'm just like enlightened by their positivity. And I'm watching those types of stocks as well. And just because of my situation as a student, an ex-student now, and I think that's why I needed to stay with those kind of mid-cap and large cap, just to be
You
kind
bet.
of a little bit more safe.
You bet. Nika, we're going to leave it there for now. We're going to have you back very soon. Thanks so much for joining me today.
Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure to be here.
If you're enjoying the show, subscribe to Midas Letter on YouTube so you stay up to date on everything investment.
Joining us now is Nick Brody, who's CEO of Galane Gold. Nick, how are you doing?
I'm fine, Fraser. Yourself?
I'm good. Yeah, we were just talking about the company a little bit, but to give our audience a bit of an overview, you've been on the show before, but never hurts to just sort of recap what the company has going on.
Yeah, so we've got two assets. We've got the first one, which is Mopani, based in Botswana, which we acquired back in 2011 from IM Gold. And we've worked very hard to transition it from an open pit to an underground mine. Last year was our best year since 2013. Produced around 36,000 ounces at an all-in of 1,050, so positive operating cash flows. The second asset we have is Galaxy. We acquired it back in 2015. And really the idea there was to buy an asset that we could take our strong management team that we've built and move them across to a new asset and put that back into production. Last year we secured the financing, and this year we've started putting that plan together. We produced first concentrate a couple of weeks ago, actually shipped that now, and we've got a ramp-up plan to get into full production by next year.
So I watched the site tour that we put out on your operation, needless to say, and I was pretty impressed by just the sheer scale, just looking at all that you have that's going on. Can you give us a little detail about the scale of the operation?
Yeah, sure. So like, when people hear junior mining, they think a junior company small. That's not what Mopani is. Mopani, the specific asset that's running at the moment, that plant's a 1.1 million ton plant. The thing that constrains the production is the grade, and the grade runs between 1.5 to 2 grams a ton. So it's only a 36,000 in a good year. But the reality is you need a big plant to produce that, yeah? So we have a workforce of around 200 people, but outside of that, if you bring in the subcontractors, etc., maybe we're talking about 500. So it's a big operation, yeah? If you look at Galaxy, which was there as well, you can see we're doing the ramp up there, but come back in 6, 12 months and that's back up in production, you're going to see something very similar to Mopani. And it's going to be only 30,000 tons per month, but you've got 2 underground operations running, you've got a concentrate bagging system, so it'll look pretty similar, but it'll be just as impressive.
You guys are generating revenues. You have operating mine. It's not an exploration stage company like so many other juniors out there. So, how are you able to get to that point?
Look, I mean, when it comes to Mopani, when we bought it, there was only 1 year life there. Right. And what we did is we looked at the asset and we understood there was an opportunity to go underground in the open pits. And it's seeing those opportunities. We actually executed on it. We raised money, we've repaid that debt, and now we're in a strong position because we've got an underground mine there that could continue for a long time. But what we're not doing is, we're not an exploration company, we're a production company. That's what we concentrate on. And we're spending our money on doing the drilling around the production areas, extending life that way. So if we take 36,000 ounces like we did at Mopani last year, we'll try and replace it with 36,000 ounces into the resource and just continue the life that way. So now we're talking about it as a 3+ year life, and next year when I'm here and we're talking again, maybe I'll be talking about a 3+ year life. If we talk about Galaxy, now Galaxy is the same. It was an unloved asset. It was in care and maintenance, but it had over 1.5 million ounces of measured, indicated, and inferred there. So there's a resource. There's been over 100 years of mining there, produced over 1.3 million ounces. So there's obviously an opportunity there, but the thing that was holding it back was how to unlock that value, because it's high in sulfide, refractory ore. And we re-looked at it, and we re-looked at how to do that. And the 15,000 ton plant wasn't big enough, the economies of scale weren't good, but we saw if we double the size of that plant, and we actually sold a concentrate rather than trying to do a gold doré, we could actually achieve lower costs and a better recovery. And that's what we're executing at the moment.
Yeah, and Galaxy looks like it has a lot of upside, and obviously you have to spend some money to make money, but you have in rough time frame, goals that you have to meet for Galaxy over the next
year? Yeah, look, we're in the ramp-up stage, so this year's been all about setting ourselves goals and trying to achieve those goals. You'll miss some, that's the way mining works, but we hit the majority of them. This year, we raised the money back in November, we did the first drawdown in January, and the idea was to restart mining, and we restarted mining the 2 main ore bodies. There's one called Princeton, which is about 5 meters wide, but 100 meters strike, and runs at 5.5 grams a ton. And we tried to get first ore out of there. It was going to be in June, but we actually achieved that in April, ahead of target. And the other ore body was Galaxy, which is 40 meters wide, 4.5 grams a ton. But we've got an adit that we need to drive through, and we still got 800 meters to do on that. And we're looking to get into production there, perhaps November, December. So that's a long-term target for us. But we'll be producing around 20,000 tons from there. If I bring those two together, then that's the 30,000 tons I need for the new plant. In addition to that, we needed to refurbish the existing plant, which is 15,000 tons. and we did that at the beginning of the year, and that's already in production. We wanted to produce concentrate. We've done that. We're ahead of target. We wanted to start taking old mill sands, which is, if you do tailings, tailings tend to be near the plant, etc. These tailings were 3 kilometers away and up the top of a hill. And we had to lay a pipe all the way up the hill for 3 kilometers to get it down. It's been quite a task. That took us 3 months to achieve, but we achieved it, a month behind target, but we're there and we're running with that now, and we're seeing much better concentrate grades, and we're hopefully going to be running at a break even this year. We're producing around 9,000 ounces, but at the end of this year we'll be in full production and we'll be producing around 26,000 ounces next year.
Yeah, and as you know, we look at the junior mining space, just sort of overall, it seems to be, if your stock, for example, has been hovering around the 5 to 6 cent range with a market cap of about $10 million, which, we were just speaking off camera about, it seems like the tide is starting to change a bit, where you're getting a little bit more interest from investors than the past little while.
Look, I'm always talking to investors. Recently I was at a one-to-one event in London, and I was the most requested meeting. I think the two things there that were interested people was gold, because people definitely seem to be more interested in gold.
Yeah.
I can understand with the market conditions as they are at the moment.
Yeah.
But also the fact that we'd restarted an asset in South Africa, and historically a lot of people had concerns about South Africa, but they've had elections there, they've got a new person in charge, and their view is that maybe it's changing and South Africa is a good place to go back to. So, we're ahead of the curve there, so people were very interested in what we're trying to achieve. But at the same time, we've got a good story. We're actually a producing asset.
Right.
We're producing cash flows. We've got a clear path to triple our production to 90,000 from 30,000. We're already financed. So in my mind, if you're looking for a junior, we're a good choice.
Oh, for sure. So we're looking at the numbers a little bit. It seems like it could be possible for Galane to get 70 million in revenues in 2019. Is that right?
2019, yeah. But then even more than that, up to 90 million, 100 million in 2020 in today's gold prices.
Right, for sure. Well, thanks a lot, Nick. That's a great update on the company, and we're definitely excited about this opportunity, and we're going to have you back on shortly as Galaxy progresses. So thanks for joining us today.
Thanks for your time, Fraser.
Enjoying the show, everybody? Don't forget to follow us on Twitter, like us on Facebook, and follow us on Instagram. Well, that was good. We've gotten almost all the way through a show without a new tech TriCaster breakdown.
Wow.
Yeah, that's a miracle. We might just stay with TriCaster. You were asking about CanTrust and what happened to CanTrust.
What happened to it?
It went down.
No, but it's now trading just around $4.
Yeah.
And I look, all the problems, but there are some really good things about this company.
Do you own it?
I just bought it back.
Did you?
I did.
You bought it, you sold it, and now you're buying it back again.
Yeah, because I think I think tomorrow we're going to have a replication of today.
No kidding.
Yeah, I think we're going to have another big positive day.
Really?
Yeah.
What do you think's going to cause that?
Just because I think the shorts are caught right now.
No kidding.
Yeah, I think
caught
they're
between
caught.
a rock and a hard place?
Well, maybe they're caught between, smoking pot and drinking beer. I don't know.
Ooh, and those are two hard choices to make.
Yeah.
I
like this company. If gold, Galane, if gold does what I think it's going to do based on technical action, the fact that they can fund their own exploration, they're sort of sitting in a great spot. As he said, they got the money to keep drilling. They got the cash flows to fund their drilling, which is what you want. So dilution going forward should be at a bare minimum.
Okay, good. I wanted to take a quick look at the chart for our favorite stock here. Our favorite sponsor, Halo Labs, which goes under the symbol Halo on the Neo Exchange.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but Scott, tomorrow we're going to see Scott Patterson, and he's the chairman.
Scott is the chairman. So we're going to hear straight from the chairman's mouth tomorrow.
Right.
Yeah, that's going to be good. So, some reason yours isn't working, but mine seems to be.
Wait a minute. Here it is.
Where?
No.
That's not it?
Why does that? Yeah, I don't know about this. It seems like I cannot get it up.
Look,
Well,
you cannot get it up.
I don't want to say that too loud. I don't want to say it too loud.
Hey, Ed.
Hey.
Maybe this is part of another problem. It is up.
Let me see your email.
What is this? Is it up?
It's up.
You got it up.
No, I always get it up.
Now we hear some laughing in the control tower.
But you couldn't get it up, but
I
now
couldn't
you,
get it.
Or maybe it's up and you just don't
Well-
know it's up.
I was going to say something fairly funny here, but I don't know if I should. I think it's only important if one of us gets it up. No.
As long as somebody's getting it up around here. Yeah. Anyways, I'm looking at the chart for Halo Labs here.
And?
And it's down from its high of, well, it was trading up near 80 cents just a few months ago, back in April, and it's drifted down to 55 cents. So now, relative to the rest of the market, though, it's performed relatively well.
Yeah, and if we start seeing this market move, and people want to see fun, I think it seems apparent now. More and more people are looking for fundamentals in these quarterly reports, right? They want to see progress.
You would think.
Yeah, and I think there was an article came out in the weekend that said that maybe Kronos may be one of the lone companies to show a profit for the quarter.
Really?
That's what it said. It said Kronos may stand alone this quarter as a profitable company. And so, people don't want to see that. Makes people nervous. And yet, what happened today? This came out on the weekend, made people look nervous.
But why is CannTrust on the way back up if there is a risk that they're going to lose their license completely, or at least have it suspended?
Well, they may lose a license, but somebody may come along, a dark night or a white night, and buy it from them. But then, because the regime had changed, that might make the...
So those assets have been permanently sullied by what has happened, and therefore the name CannTrust will always be subject to a negative perception on the part of investors.
I think they're going
to,
you could put a T in there after the N.
Can't
Trust.
Can't trust. Don't trust.
Won't trust.
Won't trust.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's listen. We've been on the show a lot. We've talked now for over a year, and we've said the day it goes legal might be a dime to take some money off the. We've said it. We said it once. We said it twice.
Well, I've been saying it for 5 years, 6 years now.
7 years.
7 years. Do you
10
hear
year.
7 years?
I want to get my tenure.
You want to get your tenure. Your tenure. Yeah, everybody, don't forget to hit the little bell button in the upper right if you want to hear every time we're online, every time we're ready to broadcast. Tomorrow we're going to be coming to you live from Muskokie. We'll be the old Kanokis from Muskokie.
Do you think we'll be a couple of Yokis from Muskokie?
We'll be Yokis from Muskokie coming live from Pet Camp, the Muskoka Mecca. Yeah, and then next week we've got all kinds of backyard hits coming up that are going to be great. What other stocks, Ed, are you all watching in the cannabis space right now that you think are demonstrating contra-herd behaviors?
Obviously, anything that was up nicely today, because obviously the index was up. So if stocks didn't move today, I would make me a little uncomfortable.
And the S&P set an all-time record again today.
Did it?
Yeah.
I know it closed at a record high on Friday. We've seen some wild swings, but maybe the stock market's the only game in town. There's so much money that's been printed.
Yeah.
Close to $20 trillion now, right? Or $15 trillion by the central banks. Where's that money got to go?
Stock market. The S&P touched a high of 3,017 today, which does make it the all-time high. And looking at the chart here, you can see that I'm looking at the 20-year chart here. Can you guys see that in the control room now?
For some reason, I just lost my...
My email. That's odd. Okay,
Launching
let's go
quote
to Candice. Let's put it... it says it's on quote stream. Okay. Oh, that could be. Yes, you're quite right, I was. Let's do this again. Let's relaunch the... Check that out. How about now?
Yeah, mine's working now. I got a chart of gold up here, which I think looks unbelievable.
Yeah, so anyways, here's the S&P 20-year.
Yeah, isn't
So
that
here
wild?
we are in brand new territory up here.
Yeah.
Like, where does it end?
Well, look. We thought it ended on December the 24th because
It was Christmas Eve
that was the day the market bottomed.
down here.
But no, December 24th is
This-
that's the no down there.
Here.
No. Further up.
Here.
No. That
Here.
little drop down there. No, the first drop. Keep
Here.
going. Keep going.
Here.
Keep going. Keep going.
Here.
Keep going. Keep going.
Here.
There.
There.
Yeah.
Wednesday, December 19th.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. January 11th.
Yeah. So look, it's now recovered all of that, and now in new high territory. This is a market I don't think you want to be short, because whenever you're in all-time territory, there's nothing. Nobody knows what it's like to be higher. So
Yeah.
they say, let's go there.
Why are we seeing only a portion of Ed's screen on the screen here?
Yeah. What portion are you seeing though?
Just the middle portion. No. What do you got there, Ed?
Popcorn.
Have you had a? Maybe this is what's going on. You're smelling too much of this stuff. Have you had a smell out of here today? So this is curing. This is. Oof, yes. Smells beautiful. So as you can see, the humidity in here is 65%. So you know what we're going to do.
We're gonna put
We're
some
going to leave
water
that
in there.
open for a while because that's a little bit too moist. I want 62%, no higher.
Really?
Yeah. 65%, it still develops. It's still.
You're a chemist, as far as I'm concerned.
Well, no, but you want it. You don't want it too dry, and you don't want it too moist because then it is actually producing.
Could you make a
mold
nice, say, broth with?
Look at that! Can you believe that I grew that?
Marijuana broth?
I could just.
You could
scoop this
argue
thing
the
away.
earth grew it.
Want to light this up right after the show? It's 4 o'clock now, people. If you want to see us come live to you from Pat Camp, hit the bell in the upper right. That'll notify you when we're online. And don't forget to subscribe to the newsletter as we get ready to launch the Midas Letter Cannabis Universe Investment Picks newsletter. And get ready for making a little bit of more money. That was our show for today. Thanks for joining us. See you tomorrow.